Your thoughts on Chauncey?
On the extension? No, I'm very happy about that. I said I told Kevin on the broadcast today. I was like, just the opportunity for him to show what he can do this year. That I was really excited about. Guys being healthy finally, and we have a whole group, and he's able to kind of imprint his philosophies on a lot of the young guys. So I was pretty happy about that. Just seeing how far he's come as a coach.
Did you expect him to be re-signed, or were you nervous about it?
Yeah,
Or
I mean, obviously it was kind of up in the air, but obviously, having a big of an improvement from last season to this season, I think that helped us out a lot. Helped him out.
Was that something that came, obviously you all know that he's in the final year of his contract and nobody really knows what's going to happen this summer. Was that something that kind of, presented itself during the season that you guys talked about or thought about at all? Or was it just
Obviously everybody kind of knew, but we no obviously we didn't know until it became official that he got the extension. But everybody knew kind of silently that it was a kind of a quote unquote contract year for him.
How's this season been for you, Andrew? It started off rough, and you rounded more back into what you've known, and then in the season a little dinged up. But when you look back at the season, what do you kind of take from it?
I learned a lot. About the team, about myself individually. You know, uh, just going through the ebbs and flows of the season. Always, I said that it was one of my, the toughest season I've had, just mentally. Just adjusting to everything that's, was being thrown at me. Obviously, like I said, always said we, implemented kind of a new offense. We playing much faster. That means, whoever gets the ball goes. And so, once you've been used to playing like kind of half-court offense your first 6 years in the league, it's kind of hard to adjust because that's how I learned the NBA game was through running sets. You know what I mean? So that was pretty hard for me. But I feel like I figured it out kind of midway through the season, and just trying to figure it out from there. And also, obviously, we got a lot of young guys that are very talented and want to implement themselves on the team and in the league in general. So you know, it's a lot of room for them to become that and show that what they can do. So no, I feel pretty good about going out of the season. I think I've improved in a lot of areas, and I'm happy that I was able to come out and be successful in it.
Do you like the role that you settled into, and long term, do you think, considering all the other young guys on the team, you have like a clear vision of where you fit with the organization long term?
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be like you're trying to obviously figure it out. But like I always said, I always just try to do my part and show up each and every day. And you know, whatever decision they make or not, I just you gotta obviously live with it. You can't really have that much control over it. So like I say, I try to come in each and every day and be professional and try to play my best each and every night.
Chauncey coach this year with 1 year left, with an option year. You have 1 year left, so it sounds like though that you're not going to let that burden you at all.
Obviously you can. Obviously you have some control over some things, but you know, like I said, all you can do is just play your best when you go out there, and let my agent do everything else. Have conversations, but I would say that's his job. You know what I mean? That's what I pay him for. So.
We all know that losing has been a little burdensome for you, but you guys, nice end of this season. Joe's talking about next year the bar being, depending on how the offseason goes, the playoffs. Do you feel like this team is on the verge of pushing into the playoffs? And not just the play-in, the playoffs.
No, for sure. I think there's a lot to build off this year. We've had a rough couple of years, obviously, and having this big of a improvement from last year. I think at the beginning of the season we probably wouldn't say that, but I think we figured it out halfway through the season after those tough conversations, and we kind of established how we want to play each and every night. And I think that doesn't change going into next year. I think a lot of guys got better this past all season, and I expect them to get even better. Everybody get better this offseason as well. So I hope to see like obviously a much more improvement individually, and then obviously we got close this year, so I think it's only right for us to expect us to be in that conversation next year for most of the year.
You're one of the few vets. What does your offseason look like now as you go into another year?
Rest. Rest for like maybe a couple of weeks, and then kind of gradually build up until obviously when the season start next year. So that's usually how I approach it.
How much did you think Shaden grew this year, and how did you feel he handled being taken from the starting lineup? It seemed like he responded pretty well.
Yeah, I think he responded well. I came up here like one time and said that this was that type of situation. You find out a lot about yourself when it's quote unquote adversity or things aren't going particularly your way. I think he handled it well, and obviously we just needed Shaden to be healthy, for a long period of time, and for everybody to see, how talented he is, how good he is, and so I expect next year to be even better coming into next year, and he got a full year of playing underneath his belt, and those times you can really see what you need to get better at and kind of improve from there.
Did any of the young guys kind of jump out to you, their progress from start of the season to end of the season?
I think everybody showed, like Shaden, Donovan. He slowly began to understand how to be effective on both ends of the court as a big in the league. And Scoot, he was coming on the bench and playing extremely well. So I think all the young guys, even Roops, this past couple of games, he showed us how talented he is and how good he can be. So I think. From everybody, I think you see the improvements and you see how hard they work during the season, even when they might not be playing or might not be playing as well during that time. But I think for most of the part, all of our young guys are hard workers and they always going to accept coaching and continue to improve their games.